Have you ever wondered about the quiet universe that exists within you, even now, as you lay down to rest? There's a space, vast and intricate, that is always at work, always dreaming, always maintaining the gentle rhythm of your being. It is not a place of noise or hurry, but a silent, sprawling landscape of immense and delicate beauty. Tonight, we can travel there together, not with effort, but with gentle intention, simply by allowing our awareness to drift inward. Let your body grow heavy and comfortable. Let your breath be slow and easy. There is nothing to do, nothing to solve. We are only visiting a peaceful, secret world. Imagine, if you will, a cosmos. Not the cold, empty cosmos of outer space, but a warm, living galaxy held safely within. In this inner sky, there are no burning suns or barren planets. Instead, there are stars of a different kind. There are nearly 100 billion of them, each one a living entity, a world unto itself. These are your neurons. They float in a gentle, supportive darkness, connected by threads of faint, shimmering light. This is the great, quiet network of your mind. It is a place of profound stillness, especially now, as the day fades and you prepare for sleep. The bustling activity of waking thoughts begins to soften. The bright flashes of focus dim to a gentle, ambient glow. The entire landscape settles into a state of peaceful readiness. It is like a forest at twilight. The birds have ceased their songs. The daytime creatures have found their rest, and a deep, humming quiet descends. But the forest is not empty. It is alive with a subtle, nocturnal energy. This is the world we will explore. A world of soft pulses, of whispered messages, of slow, graceful connections being made and unmade in the tranquil dark. As you settle deeper into comfort, let your mind's eye drift into this inner space. Feel the warmth and the safety of it. There is no need to see clearly, only to sense. Sense the sheer scale of it, the endless, branching pathways, the constellations of memory, the rivers of feeling. It is all here, all part of you, working in perfect, silent harmony. We begin our journey by focusing on just one single point of light in this vast inner sky. One single neuron. It is not just a spark. It has a beautiful and complex form, like a tree sculpted from starlight. It is both delicate and resilient, a testament to the quiet artistry of life. This single neuron is our guide for tonight. Through it, we will come to understand the gentle language of the mind. Its life is a quiet one, a life of listening and responding, of receiving and passing on gentle messages. It does not strive or strain. It simply exists, participating in a grand, silent conversation that has been happening since you began. So let go of the day. Let go of all the thoughts and worries that may cling to you. They have no place here in this serene inner world. Here, there is only the slow, rhythmic dance of light, the gentle hum of existence, and the profound peace of a universe within. Your only task is to listen, to feel, and to drift. Drift into the quiet magnificence of your own mind as it prepares for the deep, restorative peace of sleep. Let's draw closer to this single, luminous neuron. It floats in a nutrient-rich sea, a warm and cushioning fluid that holds it perfectly. It is not alone. In every direction, as far as we can sense, are other neurons, countless others, their own branches and fibers creating an infinitely complex and beautiful thicket. But for now, our focus is on this one. At its center is the cell body, the soma. Imagine it as a small, softly glowing pearl. It is the heart of the neuron, its core of being. The light it emits is not harsh or bright, but a gentle, steady luminescence, a warm and constant presence. Within this pearly sphere, protected at its very center, is the nucleus. Think of the nucleus as a quiet library, a vault of ancient knowledge. It holds the blueprint for the neuron, the deep, essential instructions for its life, its purpose, its connections. All the wisdom it needs to perform its gentle dance is held here, in a state of perfect, peaceful order. The library is not busy tonight. The books are all on their shelves. The information is at rest, waiting patiently. The activity of the day has subsided, and a profound calm emanates from this central core. The glow of the soma is the gentle energy of life itself, a quiet metabolic hum that keeps the neuron healthy and ready. It is like the pilot light of a stove, a small, constant flame that ensures warmth and readiness without any great effort or consumption of energy. This soft, pearly light suffuses the entire structure, a beacon of quiet vitality in the gentle darkness of the mind. From this central, glowing body, delicate branches extend outward in every direction. These are the dendrites. They are the neuron's listeners. Imagine them as the branches of a beautiful, leafless tree in winter, reaching up into a starry sky. Or perhaps they are more like the intricate, feathery arms of a sea fan, swaying gently in a deep, calm ocean current. They are exquisitely sensitive. Their entire purpose is to listen, to receive the faint whispers that travel through the network. They do not reach or grasp. They simply are. They hold a posture of quiet, patient reception. Their surfaces are covered in even smaller, more delicate structures, tiny spines that increase their ability to listen, like millions of tiny ears tuned to the subtlest of signals. These dendrites create a vast and beautiful web around the cell body. They're the neuron's connection to its community. Through them, it is in constant, silent communion with thousands of its neighbors. Tonight, the dendrites are mostly quiet. The storm of sensory information from the day has passed. The urgent messages have all been delivered. Now only the softest murmurs drift by. A whisper from a nearby neuron about a fading memory. A gentle pulse related to the slow, rhythmic beat of your heart. The dendrites receive these messages not as sounds, but as tiny, momentary shifts in energy, like a soft breeze rustling the leaves of a tree. They are so fine, so intricate, that they seem to shimmer at the very edge of perception. They are the poetry of the neuron's form, a testament to the beauty of connection and the quiet power of listening. They float in the space around the soma, a delicate filigree of receptivity, waiting in perfect stillness for the messages that the universe of the mind might send their way. They are the gentle antennae of the soul, tuned to the music of your inner world. Stretching away from the glowing soma, in the opposite direction from most of the dendritic branches, is a single, long, and slender pathway. This is the axon. If the dendrites are the listeners, the axon is the gentle messenger. It is the pathway along which the neuron sends its own whisper out into the network. Imagine it as a silken thread spun from the same soft light as the cell body, stretching far into the distance. It is a river of potential, a conduit for communication. Unlike the branching, complex dendrites, the axon is a model of elegant simplicity. It is a direct and purposeful path. Its journey can be incredibly long, relatively speaking. In this vast inner landscape, an axon might stretch from one region of the brain to another, a luminous bridge connecting distant communities of neurons. This silken thread is not bare. It is insulated by a beautiful and remarkable substance. This is the myelin sheath. Picture the axon as a fine, glowing filament, and the myelin sheath as a series of precious, pearly beads strung along its length at regular intervals. Each bead is a small, fatty cell that has wrapped itself around the axon, like a warm, protective blanket. This sheath does two things. It protects the delicate axon, and it allows the message to travel with incredible speed and grace. The soft light of a signal doesn't flow continuously down the axon. Instead, it leaps in an elegant and almost instantaneous dance from one gap between the pearly beads to the next. It is a journey of effortless, rhythmic pulses, a soft flash of light at one node, then the next, like a series of lanterns lighting up in sequence to illuminate a path through a peaceful garden at night. This structure ensures that the message arrives at its destination with perfect clarity its gentle voice undiminished by the length of its journey. The axon is a testament to purposeful travel, to the beauty of a clear and protected path. It is the neuron's voice, its way of contributing its own small piece of information to the grand, ongoing conversation of a mind. And now, as sleep deepens, most of these pathways are quiet. The lanterns are unlit. The silken threads rest in the darkness, waiting for the gentle signals of dreams. At the very end of the long, slender axon, it branches out, much like the dendrites at the other end. But these branches are different. They don't end in fine, feathery listeners. They end in tiny, specialized structures called axon terminals. These are the neuron's fingertips, the very point of communication. Imagine the axon as a long arm, and the terminals as the gentle fingers at the end of that arm, reaching out to connect with another. But here is one of the most beautiful secrets of this inner world. They never quite touch. Between the axon terminal of our neuron and the dendrite of the next, there is a space, an incredibly small, yet profoundly important gap. This space is called the synapse, or the synaptic cleft. It is a tiny, sacred pause, a moment of silence between the speaker and the listener. Think of it as a quiet, misty valley between two mountaintops, or the space between two dancers, charged with potential and meaning. It is in this microscopic, quiet space that the true magic of communication happens. When a gentle pulse of light has traveled the length of the axon, it arrives at these terminals. This arrival is the cue for the next step in the conversation. The terminal contains tiny, bubble-like sacs, almost like microscopic dewdrops. These are vesicles, and they are filled with the language of the neurons, special molecules called neurotransmitters. When the signal arrives, it is a gentle invitation for these vesicles to drift to the very edge of the terminal and release their contents into the synaptic cleft. It is a soft, graceful release, not an explosion. It is like opening a hand to let a handful of shimmering, glowing seeds be carried away on a gentle breeze. These seeds, the neurotransmitters, then drift across the tiny, quiet valley of the synapse, on a short but crucial journey to the dendrite of the neighboring neuron. This is the moment of transmission, the passing of the whisper from one to another, a moment of pure, silent communication across a space of infinite potential. Let us linger for a moment in this quiet, magical space, the synapse. It is the heart of the neural conversation. Everything in the brain, every thought, every feeling, every memory is built upon these tiny, silent gaps and the gentle messages that cross them. As the shimmering seeds of the neurotransmitters are released from the axon terminal, they begin their slow, gentle drift. The synaptic cleft is filled with the same warm, supportive fluid that bathes all the neurons, and the messengers float through it like pollen on a still summer evening. There is no rush. The journey is precise and unhurried. On the other side of the cleft, on the feathery surface of the receiving dendrite, are special structures called receptors. Think of them as perfectly formed blocks, waiting for the exact right key. Each type of neurotransmitter, each type of shimmering seed, has its own uniquely shaped receptor. When a neurotransmitter molecule drifts across the synapse and finds its matching receptor, it nestles into it gently. This connection is a moment of recognition. It is the delivery of the message. The key has found its lock. This gentle docking action is what creates the next whisper of a signal in the receiving neuron. It is not a forceful event. It is a subtle change, a slight opening of a gate, allowing a few tiny, charged particles, ions, to drift into the dendrite, slightly changing its electrical state. It is the softest of knocks on the door. If enough of these gentle knocks arrive at the same time, from many different synapses, their combined whispers may be enough to encourage the receiving neuron to send a message of its own, continuing the conversation. After the message is delivered, the neurotransmitter doesn't linger. It is gently released from the receptor and, in a beautiful act of conservation, is often drawn back up into the axon terminal that released it to be stored and used again. The synapse is then clear, quiet, and ready for the next communication. This entire process is a dance of exquisite precision and grace, happening billions of times every second, creating the rich tapestry of your inner world. And now, in the quiet of sleep, the dance is slower, more measured, a gentle waltz of dreams and restoration. Let's imagine one of these gentle signals being born. It begins as a collection of whispers received by the delicate, branching dendrites of our neuron. A message arrives from a neuron connected to a distant memory. Another whisper comes from a neuron involved in the slow rhythm of your breathing. Each message, as it docks with a receptor, causes a tiny, almost imperceptible ripple of energy to enter the dendrite. These are not yet a full signal. They are just suggestions, faint murmurs in the quiet. These tiny ripples travel from the branches of the dendrites inward toward the glowing, pearly sphere of the soma, the cell body. Imagine them as tiny, shimmering streams flowing from the tips of the tree branches down to the trunk. The soma acts as a serene and patient accumulator. It gathers these gentle currents of energy. It feels the sum of all the whispers that the dendrites have heard. It is a process of integration, of listening to the consensus of the community. The soma waits in perfect stillness until a certain threshold is reached. This is not a tense or anxious waiting. It is a natural, patient readiness, like a still pond waiting for enough raindrops to fall to create a single, clear ripple that will spread across its surface. When the combined energy of all the incoming whispers reaches that perfect, gentle peak, the moment arrives. A decision is made, not through thought, but through pure physics and chemistry. The neuron will now send a message of its own. From the base of the axon, where it connects to the soma, a new wave is born. This is the action potential. But let us not think of it as a harsh or sudden event. It is a graceful, flowing pulse of light and energy. A single, coherent wave that has been formed from the union of many tiny ripples. It is the neuron speaking in its own clear, calm voice. The wave begins its journey down the long, silken path of the axon, a message ready to be shared with the next neuron in the chain. The journey of this wave, this gentle pulse of light, is a marvel of natural elegance. It does not diminish as it travels. It is reborn at every step of its path. This is thanks to the incredible chemistry of the axon. The membrane of the axon is like a delicate skin, separating the inner world of the neuron from the outer world of the fluid that surrounds it. This skin is studded with tiny gates, or channels, that can open and close. In its resting state, the neuron carefully maintains a delicate balance. There are more positively charged sodium ions, like tiny flecks of golden light on the outside of the axon, and more positively charged potassium ions, like tiny flecks of silver light, on the inside. This separation creates a state of quiet readiness, a gentle electrical potential. When the wave of the action potential begins, it's like a secret command whispered down the line. At the very first point on the axon, the tiny gates for the golden sodium ions swing open. Drawn by the gentle electrical difference, these golden flecks of light flow into the axon, a soft inward rush. This influx of positive energy momentarily changes the balance at that one specific spot. This is the peak of the wave. It is a momentary flash of light, a single note in a long, beautiful melody. But this change immediately triggers the gates right next to it to open. So the rush of golden light happens again, just a little further down the axon. And this, in turn, triggers the next set of gates and the next and the next. The wave doesn't so much travel as it is recreated, a cascade of gates opening and closing in perfect, seamless succession. And just as quickly as the sodium gates open, they close again, and other gates open to let the silver potassium ions flow out, restoring the original peaceful balance. So behind the traveling wave of light, the axon immediately returns to its state of quiet readiness. It is a process of profound efficiency and grace. The pulse of light travels, leaping from one node to the next between the pearly myelin beads, a swift and silent messenger on its vital journey through the quiet darkness of the brain. Now let's zoom out. We have been observing a single neuron, a single signal, a single synapse. But the truth of this inner universe lies in its interconnectedness. Our one neuron is just 100 billion, and each one of those has, on average, thousands of connections to others. The total number of synapses, these tiny, quiet valleys of communication, is in the trillions. It is a number so vast, it is difficult to comprehend. Imagine not a single tree, but an infinite, enchanted forest. The trunks are the cell bodies, the branches and roots are the dendrites and axons, all interwoven into a single, living ecosystem. The air in this forest is alive with the constant, gentle drift of neurotransmitters, like a pervasive, shimmering pollen. The pathways of light we saw are not isolated events. They form constellations, patterns of communication that flicker and flow throughout the entire forest. A thought is not a single spark. A thought is a whole region of the forest lighting up in a specific, intricate pattern. A memory is not a single object stored on a shelf. A memory is a well-trodden path through this forest, a specific set of neurons that have learned to communicate with each other so gracefully that they can recreate a pattern from the past. When you remember the warmth of the sun on your skin, a specific constellation of neurons in your sensory cortex lights up, a familiar and comforting glow. When you recall a piece of music, a different pathway sings with light, a silent melody playing out in the forest of your mind. Tonight, as you drift towards sleep, this forest is undergoing a profound shift. The bright, focused constellations of waking thought are dimming. The well-trodden paths of daily routine are growing quiet. Other, more ancient and subtle pathways are beginning to glow. These are the pathways of rest, of restoration, of dreams. The forest is preparing to tidy itself, to strengthen the important connections, and to gently prune away the ones that are no longer needed. It is a time of quiet housekeeping, of deep cellular peace. And who are the caretakers of this vast, enchanted forest? The neurons, for all their beauty, are not alone. They are supported and cared for by a host of other cells, the quiet, unsung heroes of the brain. These are the glial cells. They outnumber the neurons, and their roles are just as vital. Let's imagine the most common of these, the astrocytes. Their name means star cells, and they are beautiful, star-shaped beings that nestle among the neurons. They are the gardeners of the forest. They extend their delicate, starry arms to connect with both the neurons and the tiny blood vessels that weave through the brain. They act as a bridge, carefully drawing nutrients from the blood and delivering them to the neurons, ensuring they have the energy they need for their gentle work. They also help to clean the space around the neurons, quietly absorbing any excess neurotransmitters that might be lingering in the synapses, keeping the conversational space clear and pristine. They provide physical support, a gentle scaffolding that helps the entire intricate network hold its shape. They are the constant, watchful presence that maintains the perfect environment for the neurons to thrive. They're the quiet hum of stability, the gentle hand that tends to the soil of the mind. Then there are the microglia. If the astrocytes are the gardeners, the microglia are the gentle custodians. They're the immune system of the brain, a dedicated team of caretakers that patrols the neural landscape. They move slowly and methodically through the winding pathways of the forest. They are not aggressive. They are simply watchful protectors. Their job is to keep the environment pure. They look for anything that doesn't belong, a damaged cell, a foreign particle. When they find something, they gently envelop it and break it down, recycling its components. They are the ultimate recyclers, ensuring that nothing goes to waste and that the pristine quiet of the brain is not disturbed. During sleep, their work is especially important. As the neurons rest, the microglia become more active, moving through the synaptic clefts and quiet spaces, sweeping away the metabolic debris that has accumulated during the day's thinking. It is a gentle, nightly cleansing, a process of purification that leaves the brain refreshed and ready for a new day. You can imagine them as soft, glowing amoebas, flowing silently through the inner corridors, tidying up with a quiet and dedicated purpose. Their work is essential for the long-term health and clarity of your mind. It is a deep, cellular act of letting go, of clearing out the old to make way for the new. And let us not forget the oligodendrocytes. These are the master artisans of the neural forest. They're the cells responsible for creating the beautiful, pearly myelin sheath that protects and insulates the axons. An oligodendrocyte is like a tiny octopus with many long, flat arms. It reaches out these arms to nearby axons and, with exquisite care, wraps them around and around the axon, spinning a tight, layered blanket of fatty myelin. One single oligodendrocyte can myelinate dozens of different axons in its neighborhood. This wrapping is not just a protective layer. It is what allows the signal to travel with such speed and efficiency, leaping from node to node. It is an act of profound generosity. These cells dedicate their existence to supporting the communication of others. Imagine these artisans quietly and patiently spinning their silken, protective cocoons around the long, slender pathways of the brain. They are ensuring that the messages, the whispers of thought and feeling, can travel across the vast distances of the brain without losing their strength or clarity. Their work creates the superhighways of thought, though tonight, these highways are quiet, their lanterns dimmed. The presence of these glial cells, the astrocytes, the microglia, the oligodendrocytes, reveals a deeper truth about the brain. It is not just a network of communicators, it is a community of caretakers. It is a system built on mutual support, on nourishment, on protection, and on cleanliness. Every cell has a role, and every role is dedicated to the health and harmony of the whole. This deep, cellular cooperation is the foundation of the peace that is now settling over your inner world. As we continue to drift, let's return to the language of the neurons themselves, the shimmering seeds of the neurotransmitters. They're not all the same. They carry different messages, different flavors of information. Think of them as different musical notes, which, when combined, can create the most complex and beautiful symphonies of mood and thought. There are messengers of calm. Neurotransmitters like GABA are inhibitory. When they dock with a receptor, their message is not go, but hush. They make it less likely that the receiving neuron will send a signal of its own. Their effect is to quiet the network, to reduce the chatter, to bring a sense of peace and stillness. As you fall asleep, the release of these calming messengers increases throughout your brain. It is like a gentle, spreading wave of quiet, a collective sigh of relief as the forest settles into deep rest. The busy, chattering monkeys of the mind are gently hushed, and a profound tranquility can descend. This is a natural, healthy process. It is the brain's own way of finding its equilibrium, of letting go of the intensity of the day. Then there are the messengers of contentment, like serotonin. Serotonin is involved in so many things, but one of its most cherished roles is in regulating mood. A healthy flow of serotonin is like a gentle, warm current flowing through the neural sea. It doesn't create sharp peaks of excitement, but a sustained sense of well-being, of peaceful satisfaction. It is the quiet hum of all is well. It helps to smooth out the rough edges of emotion, to keep the inner landscape in a state of gentle balance. As you rest, the systems that regulate serotonin are also being restored and recalibrated. The quiet work of the night ensures that these gentle currents of contentment will be ready to flow again when you wake. It is like the slow, steady rhythm of a deep and peaceful breath, a reminder that at your core, there's a place of balance and ease. There are also messengers of motivation and reward, like dopamine. In our waking lives, dopamine is often associated with pleasure and seeking out new experiences. But its role is more subtle than that. It is also about the gentle satisfaction of a task completed, the quiet feeling of rightness. In the context of sleep, the dopamine system also undergoes a reset. The pathways are quieted, allowing them to regain their sensitivity. Dreams might sometimes be woven from the fabric of these pathways, creating stories of desire or accomplishment, but it is a gentle, abstract exploration. The dopamine system is not driving you to do anything right now. It is resting, replenishing its stores, so that in the morning you can wake with a renewed sense of purpose and a quiet capacity for joy. It is the promise of satisfaction, resting in a state of peaceful potential. And there are so many other messengers, each with its own unique role. Norepinephrine for alertness, now dialed down to a whisper, acetylcholine for memory and learning, now working to consolidate the important memories of the day, endorphins, the body's natural soothers, providing a deep sense of comfort and ease. The interplay of these countless messengers is an impossibly complex and beautiful ballet. It is the chemistry of your soul. And as you sleep, the orchestra is playing a lullaby, a soft and gentle symphony of rest, repair, and release. The dancers are moving in slow, graceful arcs, preparing the stage for the quiet clarity of a new day. Let's imagine the process of a memory being consolidated during this quiet time. During the day, you had a new experience. Let's say you walked in a park and noticed the particular way the light filtered through the leaves of a tree. That experience created a new pattern of firing, a new constellation of light in your brain. A group of neurons that had not spoken to each other before were activated together. But this connection is initially very faint, like a barely visible trail in the forest. If it is not reinforced, it might fade away by morning. But sleep is the time for this reinforcement. As the rest of the brain quiets down, specific parts of your mind, like the hippocampus, gently replay the pattern of that memory. It's like a quiet echo, a soft rehearsal. Each time the pattern is replayed, the synaptic connections between those specific neurons are strengthened. The receptors on the dendrites might become more sensitive. The axon terminals might learn to release their neurotransmitters more efficiently. The very structure of the synapse can change, growing stronger and more robust. It is as if the faint trail in the forest is being cleared and widened, becoming a more permanent path. This is not a loud or forceful process. It is a slow, organic growth. It is the brain deciding, in its deep wisdom, that this experience was meaningful and should be preserved. It is the gentle gardening of the mind, tending to the new growth, ensuring that the beautiful and important moments of your life become a lasting part of your inner landscape. So even as you feel you're doing nothing, a profound and creative process is unfolding. Your brain is weaving the threads of your yesterday into the tapestry of who you are. This process of strengthening connections is happening on a physical level. The dendrites can actually grow new spines, those tiny, delicate listeners, creating more points of contact for a specific pathway. The axon terminals can expand, allowing them to hold and release more of their shimmering messengers. The very cells themselves are engaged in a slow, beautiful dance of construction. This is the physical basis of learning and memory. It is called long-term potentiation. It simply means that a path that is used becomes easier to use in the future. The conversation between those neurons becomes more fluent, more effortless. So the memory of the light through the leaves is not just an abstract idea. It becomes a physical reality, encoded in the very architecture of your neural forest. It is a sculpture made of connections, a living monument to a moment in time. And the beauty of it is that this process requires rest. It happens most effectively when the conscious mind is quiet, when the brain is not distracted by the constant stream of new information from the senses. Sleep provides the sacred, protected time for this deep, internal work to be done. It is a period of profound creation, happening in the silent, gentle darkness within you. You are not the same person you were when you went to sleep. You are constantly, quietly, being remade, your experiences integrated, your wisdom deepened, all while you rest. Let us once again expand our view to take in the entirety of this inner cosmos. The hundreds of billions of stars, the trillions of connections, the shimmering clouds of neurotransmitters, the quiet, diligent work of the glial cell caretakers. All of it working in a harmony so profound it is almost beyond our comprehension. And all of it is you. This is the biological substrate of your consciousness, your personality, your hopes, your dreams. But it is not a machine. It is a living, breathing, ever-changing ecosystem. It is a forest that grows and changes with every experience, every thought, every moment of rest. As we sink deeper into the night, the overall activity of this cosmos changes. The fast, busy brain waves of waking life, the beta waves, have long since subsided. They have been replaced by the slower, more rhythmic waves of sleep. First, the gentle, rolling alpha waves of relaxation, and then the even slower theta waves of light sleep. And now, perhaps, you're drifting into the realm of delta waves. These are the slowest and deepest brain waves. They are long, slow, powerful swells like a deep ocean tide. When the brain is producing delta waves, it is in its most restorative state. It is the time of deepest physical repair and cellular cleansing. Consciousness is far away. The sense of self dissolves into a vast, peaceful ocean of being. It is a return to a primordial state of rest. If we were to look at the neural forest during this time, we would see great, slow, synchronized pulses of light washing across vast regions of the brain. Is the entire forest breathing together, a single, unified rhythm? It is a planetary lullaby, a deep and resonant hum of profound peace. This is the ultimate state of letting go, the brain's way of completely surrendering to the healing power of rest. And in this deep, quiet state, the brain is also cleaning itself in a very direct way. The channels between the neurons, which are usually quite narrow, actually expand during deep sleep. The fluid that bathes the brain, the cerebrospinal fluid, is able to flow more freely through these expanded channels. This increased flow acts like a gentle rinse cycle, washing away metabolic waste products that have built up during the day. One of the key substances cleared away is beta amyloid, a protein that, if it accumulates too much, is associated with cognitive decline. So this nightly wash is a profoundly protective and rejuvenating process. It is like a gentle, cleansing rain falling upon the forest, washing the leaves, clearing the air, and nourishing the soil. It is a physical act of renewal that is essential for maintaining a healthy mind. It is another of the profound gifts of sleep, a secret process of purification happening deep within you, without any effort on your part. Your only task is to provide the time and the stillness for this magic to occur. By allowing yourself to rest, you are allowing this deep, cleansing tide to flow, to wash away the residue of the day and leave your mind clear and bright for the morning. And what are dreams? Where do they come from in this quiet, sleeping landscape? Dreams are perhaps the most mysterious and poetic expression of the neural forest. As the conscious, logical parts of the brain quiet down, other, more ancient and emotional centers are allowed to speak. The signals that generate dreams often originate deep in the brainstem, an ancient part of the nervous system. These signals travel up into the higher regions of the brain, the cortex, and they activate random collections of neurons. The cortex, which is always trying to make sense of the world, takes these random activations, a snippet of a memory, a flicker of an emotion, a sensory echo, and it does what it does best. It tries to weave them into a story. But because the logical, planning parts of the brain are offline, the stories are often strange, symbolic, and unbound by the rules of reality. A dream is the neural forest talking to itself in its native language, a language of images and feelings, of metaphors and associations. It is a time when connections are made between ideas and memories that would never be linked during the logical light of day. It can be a process of emotional processing, of working through the feelings of the day in a safe, symbolic space. It can be a playground for creativity, a source of new and unexpected insights. You do not need to understand your dreams for them to be beneficial. The process itself is what matters. It is the brain exploring its own vast, interconnected web of knowledge, finding new pathways, creating new art from the raw material of your life. A dream is a private, ephemeral masterpiece, painted with the soft light of neurons on the dark canvas of the night. So as you lie here on the edge of sleep, or perhaps already drifting within it, know that you are not idle. You are presiding over a universe of immense beauty and activity, a universe that is dedicated to your well-being. The glowing, pearly neurons are pulsing with the slow, deep rhythms of rest. The silken axons are quiet, their pathways cleared for the work of memory consolidation. The tiny, magical synapses are being cleaned and strengthened. The gentle, star-shaped astrocytes are nourishing the forest. The quiet, vigilant microglia are sweeping the pathways clean. The artisan oligodendrocytes are maintaining the precious insulation on the communication lines. The great, slow, delta waves are washing through the entire landscape, bringing a profound, restorative peace. And in the quietest corners of the forest, the flickering lights of dreams are beginning to paint their strange and beautiful stories. There is nothing for you to do but to trust this process. Your body knows exactly what to do. Your brain knows how to heal and restore itself. All that is required of you is to surrender, to let go of your grip on the day, to release your hold on conscious thought, to sink into the deep, dark, nourishing soil of sleep. Feel the weight of your body, a comfortable, reassuring anchor. Feel the gentle, rhythmic motion of your breath, a lullaby in your chest. And know that within you, a silent, magnificent dance is unfolding. A dance of restoration, of creation, of profound and perfect peace. The secret life of your neurons is the secret of your own renewal. Allow yourself to drift into that secret, to become one with the quiet, healing rhythm of the night. There is only peace here, only rest, only the gentle, steady glow of the universe within as it settles into a deep and profound slumber. The conversation of the neurons has softened to the faintest of whispers, the murmurs of a world dreaming. Let these whispers be your final lullaby, carrying you down, down, down into the deep, velvety quiet of restorative sleep. The forest is resting. The stars are at peace, and so are you. Sleep now. Sleep deeply.